Hey everybody, it's Mike Gesowich, co-founder of Teaching.com and Typing.com. Welcome back to another episode of #AskEduTyping. We are live every week on Thursdays at 4:15 Eastern Standard Time. Last week I came live from a great conference that I attended, the Association of Career and Technical Education in Nashville, Tennessee. So if you were there and I got an opportunity to meet you, it was great to meet you. And so let's continue this week, a couple more weeks, and then we're at holiday break, and we're moving into the second semester for the 2017-2018 school year. We start every week the same way with a tip. This week's tip deals with what to expect second semester. So as we move into next school year, or next semester of this school year, this tip basically is about setting new benchmarks for accuracy and words per minute. So if you began your keyboarding program in September, you've got several months now under your belt, and hopefully you're starting to see a significant increase in students' accuracy. That's most important, remember that. So the slow and steady always win the race, remember that in keyboarding. And hopefully they're also increasing their word per minute. So my recommendation is to run a report. Go into the teacher portal through either the Typing.com or EduTyping teacher site and run a class report that basically lets you see from a date range. So if you started school in mid-August or September, run that range for the report from then until the current date, probably like December 15th or 20th or right around the holiday break, and see what kind of progression your students have made as far as words per minute and accuracy. And then in the first or second week in January, when the next semester begins, go ahead and increase the word per minute and accuracy benchmarks, which will hopefully inspire your students to do and continue to do better. And I recommend that on a regular basis. But this is a good time to kind of do a spot check of where students have progressed throughout the school year. So every week we take questions from our user audience. And we're joined this week by my colleague, Rennie Sullivan, who is our technical director in EduTyping. He is responsible for a lot of the single sign-on schools that have kind of, the students don't need to remember their username and passwords, and he works with our third-party company called Clever. And if you guys utilize single sign-on, Rennie's done a lot of the work in the background that you haven't seen. So Rennie, if you would, please read our first question from this week's.
Well, thanks, Mike. So Susan from South Carolina, she asks, I am a coach at Whitesville Elementary School in Moncks Corner, South Carolina. I have several teachers who are interested in participating in the free trial. Do teachers need to log in individually for their classroom?
Susan, great question. Our free trial with EduTyping basically lets you set up your teacher accounts in two different ways. Your individual teachers can go and sign up for the free trial, set up their own classrooms and use that on their own, or you can go in and actually sign up for a free trial and then set yourself up as an admin or a district admin. Those are two user levels that will allow you to create classes for those teachers so you can operate under one account. One of the beautiful things about the EduTyping product is that it allows for full district management and rollout. So I would recommend either one. Based on your question, it sounds like you're interested in having your students explore the software. So you can either have them sign up for a free trial, or you can do that and set up accounts for them as well. So great question. Thank you so much, Susan. And let's move to our next question. Rennie?
Natalie from Virginia, she asks, I have multiple classes using EduTyping.com in my computer lab. Unfortunately, some of the kids told the computer to remember their login information. What do I need to do to delete the information that has been stored? Everything that I've tried so far hasn't worked.
Natalie, you are not alone with this problem, and we've heard this many times. Basically, students click that save my password and my username, basically the login credentials, and most browsers do allow for this, but luckily there is a very good couple of solutions that I could recommend. Number one, and probably not the option you want to choose to start with, is you can actually go in and reset all of the students' usernames and passwords. Only problem with that is they'll probably do the same thing once you roll out their new username and passwords. So the better option is if you have a technology person at your school that understands web browser software, or even yourself, all web browsers allow for that option to be disabled. Now, the other problem with that is if you don't have lockdown as far as what the settings can be, the access settings rather within a web browser, that means your students would probably be able to go in and reset that. So I would check with my technology director or department or whoever the key liaison is within your school to see if that's an option. So again, go in and basically uncheck that option for them to be able to save their usernames and passwords, because obviously that creates a big problem. If I'm a student in period 2 and I come in period 3, I can log into somebody else's account, and that's not a good thing, as we all know. So hopefully that solution will work for you. And we have time for one more question. So Rennie, if you would read our final question of the week.
Donna from South Carolina, she asks, a few of my students stop early when they know they have too many errors. What would you recommend to help keep them from getting discouraged?
Great question, Donna. And that's very commonly asked, and we hear this all the time. It's basically when students, they can see the errors as they're typing on screen and can become pretty discouraged. So first recommendation is the obvious, which is just try to encourage your students to plug along, and that in time, repetition of day-to-day practice will increase their efficiency at the keyboard, and hopefully over time they'll begin to make less and less typos and mistakes. And if that option doesn't seem to be working, here's a solution that I would recommend, but only on a temporary basis. Within the settings, and I'm not sure if you're using Teaching.com or EduTyping or another software product to teach keyboarding, but most products allow you to set the ability to have students redo or start over on a lesson. So within EduTyping, that's an easy setting you can find right inside of the teacher portal. And basically the students, when they log in, if you've enabled them to redo or restart lessons, there'll be a little green button that they can actually push while they're in the middle of a typing lesson. Now, again, you don't want to make this a habit, though, because part of learning sometimes is you just have to train the brain to be able to deal with adverse situations like making numerous mistakes on a typing lesson. It's just part of how we grow and mature and become better at a skill. But that's what I would recommend, Donna. So that's all we have time for this week's episode of Ask EduTyping. But please, we encourage you to send in your questions. We try to answer every single one of them. If I'm not able to do it live in our show, we will get back to you via email. And you can ask your questions and reach us through hashtag AskEduTyping via Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. So I will see you next Thursday, which will be our last show for 2017, because after that will be the holiday break, in which we won't be broadcasting live, but I will see you next Thursday, and then again for the start of the 2018 new year. Take care, everybody, and happy keyboarding.